At first, this sounds like a surprise story about clean energy growing fast in a difficult place, but the deeper pull is not about energy at all, it is about something more basic and more human, which is trust. When people hear about big changes, they often look for passion or vision or technology, but this story quietly asks us to look somewhere else. It asks us to look at what makes people willing to stay long enough for anything real to grow. Imagine a place where plans often break before they finish, where rules change in the middle, and where tomorrow always feels uncertain. In that kind of place, even good ideas stay small. Even smart solutions wait on the side. This is the setting we need to hold in mind before we talk about wind or solar or markets. Because the first layer of the story is not about green power, it is about time. Fossil fuels feel easy because they fit short time frames. You dig, you burn, you move on. The cost is hidden and delayed. Renewables ask for patience. They ask for faith in the future. They ask someone to put money down today for benefits that arrive slowly and quietly over many years. That sounds reasonable in calm places, but in unstable places it sounds almost naive. So the surface idea appears simple. Renewables need long-term thinking. But that idea alone does not move anything. Many people already know this. The question hiding underneath is why long-term thinking feels impossible in some places, even when the math is clear. This is where the second insight begins to form. The real barrier is not lack of resources or lack of sun or wind. It is the hidden assumption that the future will not keep its promises. When rules change, often people learn to expect disappointment. Investors learn to protect themselves by leaving early or charging more. Governments learn to focus on the next few years, not the next few decades. Everyone adapts to short horizons. This is not because they are careless, but because they are responding to experience. Think about everyday life. If a bus often comes late, you stop trusting the schedule. You arrive early or you stop using it. If a friend often cancels plans, you stop planning long dinners and choose quick coffee instead. Over time, behavior changes not because of one event but because of repeated signals. Markets behave the same way. When a country sends repeated signals that promises may break, then money becomes cautious. It demands quick returns. It avoids long commitments. And then when long-term projects look expensive, people say, see, renewables cost too much. But the cost is not in the panels or the turbines. The cost is in the fear. This leads to the third insight, which is more structural and quieter. Systems shape behavior more than intentions. People often believe that strong speeches or moral arguments create change. But in large systems, convenience always wins. Convenience here does not mean ease. It means reliability. It means knowing what happens in the worst case, not just the best case. When a system protects people when things go wrong, they are willing to stay when things go right. This is why the story turns toward boring-sounding tools like guarantees and frameworks. These are not exciting words. They do not inspire crowds. But they do something more powerful. They remove fear step by step. Think of a bridge. You do not cross it because someone tells you it is beautiful. You cross because you trust it will hold even if the wind is strong. The structure does the emotional work for you. In the same way, a layered system of protection tells investors you do not need to trust personalities or politics. You only need to trust the structure. This reframes the whole problem. The shift is from asking people to believe in a vision to allowing them to rely on a process. Instead of saying, please trust us this time, the system says you do not need to trust us at all. The risk has been moved away from your shoulders. That is a very different message. It turns renewables from a moral choice into a practical one. From a hope into a habit. And once that shift happens, behavior changes fast. Prices fall not because technology suddenly improved, but because fear left the room. Capital that was waiting quietly steps forward. Projects multiply because the future feels less fragile. This pattern appears again and again beyond energy. In education, students learn better when the rules are clear and stable. In families, children feel safe when boundaries are consistent. In work teams, people take creative risks when failure does not end their career. Stability does not kill innovation. It makes it possible. This is why the application to daily life matters. Many people think trust is built by words or by good intentions. But trust grows from systems that work even on bad days. Ask yourself where in your life you avoid long-term plans. Maybe it is saving money starting a project or committing to a relationship. Often the reason is not lack of desire but lack of protection against disappointment. When you build small safety nets, you suddenly feel freer to think long-term. The same logic applies to communities and countries. When you design for the worst case, you unlock the best case. As this idea deepens, it becomes clear that energy was only the entry point. The real lesson is about aligning incentives with human psychology. People move toward what feels safe, not what feels right. When safety and benefit point in the same direction, change accelerates without force. This is why convenience is not a shallow word here. It is a deep design principle. Make the right choice the easiest choice, and the future arrives quietly. As you sit with this idea, notice how many debates focus on what people should want instead of what systems allow them to choose. Progress often waits not for better values but for better structures. When those structures arrive, behavior follows almost without noticing. And perhaps the most hopeful part is that this approach does not depend on perfect leaders or perfect times. It works precisely because it assumes imperfection. It assumes change, governments, crisis, and fear. It plans for them instead of denying them. That is why it lasts. So as you think about change, whether in energy, work, or your own life, ask yourself this one quiet question: what future would you commit to if you knew the system would protect you even when things go wrong?